Suvidh, it is a pleasure to have you here on the podcast. For those that don't know you, are you able to introduce yourself and what you guys do at PropHero?
Of course. Thanks a lot for having me here as well, Alex. It's a pleasure. Yeah, to answer your question, my name is Suvidh Arora. I am the CEO for Australia for PropHero, and we are essentially a buyer's agency, but we see ourselves as becoming people's property wealth management partners, and we use data and AI to find and source the best property deals for our clients, not just in Australia, but also in different overseas locations as well.
Awesome. And what was the story behind PropHero?
So, about 4 years ago, he was working at McKinsey in the data and AI practice. And he was actually essentially looking at buying a property himself, and he saw a lack of analytics in the market itself. The decision to buy a property was not data driven, it was more emotional, whether he was doing it himself or through a buyer's agent. So that's where he had this vision basically to try and digitize the whole process and also use artificial intelligence, machine learning, predictive analysis, etc. to locate the best possible areas in Australia to start with to find properties, and also make the whole buying process a lot more technical and data-based and analytical rather than solely rely on the feelings of a few people. So he took a punt, left his job at McKinsey. He was heading the data and AI practice there. And along with Pablo, who's the other founder who was a serial entrepreneur, they decided to start PropHero. And yeah, that's pretty much how essentially PropHero was born, out of a dream, and tested the idea with a few friends. And from there, the vision became a reality. And here we are, almost 3.5 years later.
Yeah, awesome. So you've been the CEO for close to a year and a half now. What was the story getting to this position? I know that you've founded a company previously and then exited that company to join PropHero. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Of course. So as I said, PropHero started about 3.5 years ago. And when they launched, my wife also was at McKinsey at the time. And she found out that this McKinsey guy was starting a new AI buyer's agency. And because I was running one of Australia's biggest finance brokerages, I just sort of connected. I reached out to him and I said, look, I believe in what you're doing because I know technology is the future. That's how I was building my own business based on data and AI as well. And I said, let's have a chat and see if I can be of any help to you. So it was purely born out of helping a fellow entrepreneur who had a vision and through some common connections as well as common interests. So we had an hour and a half long chat, and by the end of the chat we decided we will run a few online sessions for a lot of my clients to educate them on how you can make better decisions on buying property. And through that, PropHero basically got a lot of new clients and the dream took off. And then it sort of became an organic sort of relationship between the founders and myself where we respected each other intellectually. We always used to lean on each other for a lot of decisions, run ideas with each other. And then back in September, October 2023, when they were looking for some leadership change as they had themselves moved to Europe for personal reasons, they actually picked up the phone and asked me, would you like to join our team? Because we've been thinking about this for 18 months. We don't think there's anyone better suited to this role than you. And because I always had a keen interest in property, I was kind of invested myself in the growth of PropHero. I saw it as my own. So that's where, we sat down, trashed out the details, and I joined PropHero. And obviously, in order to then not have any sort of conflict, I wanted to keep things clean. So I sold off my business to my team.
Yeah, amazing. That's a cool story. And so obviously, being an entrepreneur yourself and loving, I guess, the process of growing a company and seeing the growth, what were your main priorities when starting at PropHero, looking at growing the business?
So I've always been very focused on ensuring you've got a very good culture within the team. And then the other emphasis is always the customer. That was my ethos back at my previous company, Cinch Loans. And that's what my ethos has been since I've come in. And we've very proactively worked on ensuring we've built a very strong culture within the organization where each and every employee trusts the other to take care of things for each other, be there when the need is, and just genuinely help out. And then, as I said, on the outside, we are primarily focused on getting the best possible result for our clients. So the most common conversation we always start with within our team, almost every meeting, is put yourself in the client's shoes and would you do this? Would you buy this property, for example? Or would you make this decision? And if the answer is, if you're hesitant with the answer, then we don't proceed with it at all. It has to be an emphatic yes. It has to be completely keeping in mind our customers as a priority. And we don't look at whether we have targets or we need to close certain amount of properties or whatever. That's never a communication within the team. The communication always is, let's target to delight X number of customers this month. And if that means it results in, buying X number of properties, then so be it. So we're very driven by customers. And that's just automatically lent itself to us receiving massive growth, because now what's happening is we're seeing almost every one of our customers coming back for a repeat buy to buy their second, third, fourth properties. I've had clients who've already bought 8 or 9 properties with us, building their portfolios. I've got clients who are referring their friends and family left, right, and center. And then what that does is that obviously reduces our reliance on a lot of other channels as well to get clients, because now we're getting very warm people who believe in what we're doing, and the proof is there. We've outperformed everyone in the market, and substantially, and everyone's benefiting out of it.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. It's quite interesting. Obviously, being customer focused is one thing to say it, but actually doing it. And yeah, I mean, in terms of where your position is within the market, where do you guys sit amongst competitors?
So look, a couple of years ago, we would have said we are competing with a lot of other buyers agencies in Australia. A lot of them claim to be AI or data focused or research focused. The good thing about us is, because of the backing we have from our VC firms as well as our global reach, we are able to do all of those things well, because we've got dedicated teams focused on each and everything. We've got roughly 200 employees worldwide now. We've got operations in 7 different countries, and that enables us to focus on researching, technology, AI, machine learning, property coaching, supply, everything, and not be specialists in one area, but actually focus on all of them. So what that has allowed us to do is then expand internationally and do something no one else in Australia is doing. And not just buying really amazing properties Australia-wide for our clients and helping them achieve their property goals, but also helping them diversify internationally, where they could buy in different countries, and expand their portfolio and have more options available to them.
Nice. And so obviously,
position.
Yeah, fantastic. And so being an alternative to traditional buyers agents, how do you compare to them, and what are the cost savings or benefits of your platform?
So I think the biggest cost saving obviously is the time and effort that goes in. Again, I know it's a cliche. The reality is everyone is time poor these days. And in order to close a property transaction yourself, you would on an average look at least 9 to 11 properties. Now imagine the amount spent in not just looking at those properties, but then going through the suburb metrics and analysis and deciding what kind of price point, and then negotiating, and then the heartache of missing out, and then building in best inspection. So there's a lot involved in the process, right? So I think the kind of fees we charge for that kind of service completely outweighs the benefits that the client gets, especially because as I said, our focus is we use our model to find the hottest possible suburbs, not historically alone, but also based on predictive analysis, areas that are actually that are poised for growth in the next 2 to 3 years. And then based on that, within them, we look at specific pockets, and within those specific pockets, we do due diligence on each and every property with the help of our research team, to make sure any property we suggest to our clients is purely vetted for any risk factors. Everything is eliminated. So again, there's a lot that goes into it. And then our property coaches are obviously come with years of real estate experience. So they are expert negotiators. They know how to pull tricks to get a better deal from the selling agents, because obviously we want to work in our client's best interest. And then post that as well, once you do a building and pest inspection, for example, getting into the details of what that means and negotiating on the behalf of that, and looking out for certain aspects that you might not normally see, and again, ensuring that the asset you're buying is rock solid.
Yeah.
And then that we couple that with our marketplace partners, because we've got access to so many other allied services that our clients can access through our platform, and get the benefit of either some good deals or real expertise or a mix of both through getting in touch with those partners. And then we've got, through the technology and the AI platform, we also have a sort of a wealth management tool within the app, which helps track people's property portfolios. And the app is available on App Store, Google Play, etc., free of cost. And you can download the app, upload your properties, and actually track your portfolio performance, etc. over the years, because we do our own analysis on every property that's uploaded into the app. And constantly, every 2 or 3 months, we update what the property price prediction of that particular asset is, whether it's been bought through us or not. And that helps us monitor and help people evolve and make better decisions with their property portfolios. So there's a lot more that goes in than the money they're putting in.
It sounds like a very valuable platform, and so is PropHero a platform, a technology where people can just go on and use it, or is there also that element of people behind the scenes doing the work as well? So it's not just computer system doing it, but it's also people in the back end. Is that how the model works?
Absolutely. There will always be an element of human intervention. So while we are conscious that technology is the future, so we always make sure we rely on technology to deliver better results, help us scale, help us find the best possible solutions. But we always have manual intervention to cross-check and ensure everything is working. Because one thing that I learned very early when I was in uni was the concept of garbage in, garbage out. So if there's any error with the information provided to the technology, then it will result in bad results as well. So we always are on the lookout for making sure there's nothing wrong. And if there's any red flags, we have manual intervention in place to make sure our clients always get access to the best possible things.
Yeah, nice. That sounds really good. And in terms of the market as a whole right now, how are you looking at that market? Is it, are you looking at going, this is a really strong market? What are the trends that you're seeing as well?
So look, the past few years I think have been very interesting, especially for the Australian property market. In spite of record high interest rates, I mean, I say record high, but I'm talking about the last 10 years, because obviously we're not at 13-14%, which historically Australian market has seen as well. But the current rate environment has meant, there has been an element of fear with what will happen in the Australian property market, and also people's borrowing capacities, etc., for example, have been limited. However, in spite of all of that, we've seen tremendous resilience. We've seen property prices still increase in certain areas. Some areas have seen record growth in these times as well. The interesting thing is, with upcoming elections and policy changes expected, and also more importantly, that the major banks now starting to hint that there would be interest cuts sooner than later, we foresee the property market continuing to grow in the medium term. And then again, look, there's a massive undersupply of housing, etc., in Australia. So real estate is always going to be a massive asset class for people to grow their wealth. So we're quite bullish on that.
Yeah, totally agree with you there as well. And in terms of your journey at PropHero, what have some of the biggest challenges been along your journey?
I think the biggest challenge has been, to be honest, trying to navigate the landscape where we want to make sure every asset we buy outperforms the market. Right. And it's a tremendous, I would say, burden when people trust you with the biggest purchase of their life. Again, we're very conscious about not making the wrong call. As I said earlier as well, I want to make sure we put ourselves in the client's shoes, and then ensuring that we have a company-wide culture obviously requires a bit of change. So it was tough in the initial days, but we've got such an amazing support structure. The founders have a great vision. We've got the entire team globally who's bought into this vision, and everyone's got just one focus, and it's one of our core values to make sure we are focusing on the client and making sure everyone gets the best possible result.
Nice. And in terms of leading your company, because you've got around about 200 employees globally at this point, how do you align your team on that shared vision?
So we've got what we call a one-team culture globally anyways. Obviously, there are people working in different time zones, different projects, different departments. But at the end of the day, we've got one common goal, and that is to become not just Australia or Europe's, but globally the number one property wealth management partner for clients. We aim to democratize property investment for people globally. We want to make it available not just to the top 1% of population. We want to be like the private bankers of the property game, where we make it accessible to the common public. We want to make sure each and everyone can afford to buy a good property and have access to the best possible deals throughout Australia or globally, wherever their interest lies. That's what everyone buys into, and everyone's aligned with that. And then we, being the startup, we put in a lot of effort into making sure we realize those dreams.
Yeah, nice, nice. And in terms of customers and clients on board your platform, how many customers do you currently have, and how many properties have been purchased, I guess, using your platform?
So in about 3.5 years, we've had over $1 billion worth assets under management. In terms of clients, we've got, last I checked, I think a few thousand paid clients as we measure them. Obviously, the free users are just downloading the app and interacting, and eventually one day, hopefully, they will see the value and become paid customers as well. But yeah, I think on an average, we do roughly around 150 to 200 transactions a month.
Yeah, wow, nice. And so in getting to that point, what have been some of the key sales and marketing approaches that have helped you get there?
I think, again, the focus on delivering global value and diversification to our clients. And again, having that common vision between the different teams, and because we're buying in different geographies as well, delivering that constant message, but also ensuring we are tailoring our approach to the specific geography. So if we're buying in a particular country, what are the basic metrics we're looking at, and what is the product looking like, and why is it the best possible solution for that region? And then also classifying our clients and segmenting them based on understanding what their requirements are. And we just don't look at what are you looking to buy now. So a common conversation we have with all of our clients is, what are your plans in 5, 10, 15 years time? And then let's see, how can we help you get there by scaling back and bringing it to today and seeing how today's property will help you buy the next one and the next one and the next one to achieve your ultimate goal in 10 to 15 years time. So that's what we bring together, and we portray that through our marketing and sales efforts as well. And again, there's one common message, that we are your property wealth partners.
Yeah, right. Nice. And so how do you educate the market, or I guess get around the fact of people being on the fence about getting on board the platform and actually either just getting on board the free version or also paid version? How do you get around that?
So the main thing for us is education. Firm believers in educating each and every one of our clients, or even if they don't end up becoming clients, still offering them whatever advice we can. And again, we've got this company-wide culture where the focus is always on, if someone is having a chat with you, you try and tell them what works best for them. There are so many times where we realize it might not be in this client's best interest to buy a property with us or with someone else, or maybe not, right? And we're very honest in letting them know of that, rather than trying to convert them and get a sale out of it. And that lends us to making sure we're always credible and constantly ensuring that when someone comes to us, they have the right piece of information, and then they can accordingly convert into a deal, or we openly tell them it's not for them. I actually had an example today where a client wanted to invest in a property using their superannuation fund, and I openly told them, look, I don't think you should be doing this because you are very close to your retirement, and buying a property in your superannuation, you should take an advice from a financial planner, but in my opinion, I don't think it's the best move for you. And the client was actually very grateful, and then they referred on their son to actually come and buy a property with us.
Yeah, it's funny how it works. You've got to build that trust rapport and give value to them. So I guess the future plans for PropHero, where do you see it moving? Obviously with AI being pretty much everywhere nowadays, how do you see the platform evolving and the company evolving, and what are your growth plans?
So we've got a few projects happening in the background. We're always looking at obviously improving our predictive analysis models. We've got a team of data scientists working in the background on our data models, etc., to always try and extract that extra value for our clients. But we're also working on different things like AI and Gen AI wealth advisors. We're working on scalability projects internally. And then obviously the aim is to also expand globally and reach out to other countries as well.
Nice. That sounds exciting. And obviously being a mostly pretty much B2B, a B2C company, and having partners that are also B2B as well, how important is that going to be moving forward and creating those partnerships?
I think we are actually very fortunate to have some really good partners already, but we are always looking to work with like-minded businesses who put the customer at the forefront, for whom the most important thing is the customer getting the best possible value and good results. And we're always on the lookout for that. So we partner with a lot of brokers throughout Australia, financial planners, accountants, conveyancers, legal reps, you name it. But the main thing for us is what kind of value we can deliver to their clients, for example. And if they've got a client base that, for example, would not benefit from us, then we'll be very open to them about it as well. And similarly, what can we give back to them as well? So it's obviously a mutually beneficial relationship. And yeah, we're very proud of some of the partnerships we have.
Yeah, fantastic. And how do you plan on getting more of those partnerships on board? Is there any strategies that you're looking at?
Absolutely. So we've got a dedicated team set up now who will be handling purely the B2B2C side of the business. And yeah, there's going to be a major outreach in the next 6 months to various industry events, partners, etc., to try and bring it to more and more people. Because look, I think we're at the beginning of a property revolution, to be honest, right? The kind of scale that is possible through our platform in helping clients out, not just in Australia, but globally, as I said, I think there's immense potential there, and we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, it sounds like it for sure. And then in terms of looking at your career as a whole, as an entrepreneur, businessman, what have been some of the key learnings along the way in growing your previous company now, PropHero?
I always say, always be very humble about what you're trying to do for your clients. And again, there are times when clients will turn around and say, look, it's not what I expected. And there's nothing wrong with apologizing and saying, okay, let's try and do better. Feedback is always good. So that attitude to always accept and then learn from it is very important. And I think that's something I've evolved with naturally. And then, for me, the one thing that always keeps coming back is the customer, right? Everything that I do, the forefront is always the customer. My philosophy that I've said so many times to my team, to anyone who would listen, is if you take care of your customers, the customers will take care of your business. So I completely believe in that, and that's what I live by.
Nice. If there was one piece of advice that you could give to, yourself, if you were starting back over again, your younger self, or someone looking to, or not just start, but also scale up and get past that $1 million a year mark and get up to that 8-figure mark.
Spend a lot of time, as much time as you can, building a solid foundation for yourself. Whether it's in terms of educating yourself or building a network or gaining trust with potential customers, whatever that might be, whatever that might mean. Always play the long game. Never think about short-term profits and targets. And what that allows you to do is, as I said, look after the people that really matter, and the results automatically start coming in. And once you've laid that foundation and been patient, as they start coming, then it's such a massive multiplier effect that, grow very, very rapidly, and it's faster than you can imagine.
Yeah, totally. And I imagine, a network has played a pretty big role in your career and growth, but what about mentors? Have you had any mentors in particular that have really helped you to grow? Is there anyone that comes to mind?
Not specifically, but yes, there have been a lot of industry people, a lot of personal people that I have looked up to. And I always, again, try to think of what would they do in this situation, right? How would they respond to this? The two common belief, with leaders, etc., we always expect them to be good, well-read, and, very good networkers, etc. I'm actually very honest, and I'm not an avid reader. I barely read anything. I don't really network. I'm an introvert, so I find it actually very difficult to network. I can only interact with people in environments where I know what I am doing, or at the same time, I also like pushing myself out of my comfort zone when the need is. And I think somewhere down the line, that helps. So again, having that attitude that you're always there to learn something. It doesn't necessarily has to be the way society thinks the norm is. So that's why, while I don't have any mentors, I do have people that I always, think about and try to follow and use as my guiding light.
Nice. Suvidh, I really appreciate your time today, and thank you for coming on. If people want to learn a bit more about PropHero, where can they find you?
They can go onto our website, www.prophero.com, or they can connect with me on LinkedIn, Suvidh Arora. That's my LinkedIn. And yeah, I'd be more than happy to connect.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Suvidh.
Thanks a lot, Alex.
Cheers.